what's up, guys? It's JJ,
Ginger.
and this is the weekly scuffle, and we're gonna talk about who we think won all the awards for this regular season. Starting off, we're gonna go with most improved player. I have Bam Adebayo.
I How did I know you were gonna pick that? I also have Bam Adebayo.
Damn, who would have guessed? I mean, I think it's quite simple here. He just improved every single aspect of his game, got better. He could dribble the ball, pass the ball. He's a very dynamic piece to the offense. I mean, you have anything you'd like to add for that?
I mean, our star Jimmy Butler said that he's the reason the team is winning. He almost doubled his points in last year, going from 9 to 16. Play makes at the five position. His contribution is immeasurable to the Heat.
Yeah, and the fact that he's also very versatile on the defensive end. He's got good lateral speed. He could keep up with some guards, and he's an all-around good player. I
And his
Yeah,
first time that he gets like starter minutes, and he's an all star.
yeah. Like Whiteside was clogging up the paint, like taking a lot of his minutes last year, and he finally got that opportunity, and he showed why he was a lottery pick. All right, now we're gonna move on to our Coach of the Year candidates. I have Taylor Jenkins of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Oh wow, I did not expect you to pick that guy. I have Nick Nurse from the Raptors.
Mm. See, my whole point here is you got two very young people being like the stars of this team, and overall the team's pretty young. They have a couple veterans thrown in there, but the fact that they're in the eighth seed and nobody really thought they were gonna be there, I think Taylor Jenkins has just done a good job. Like he's the leader in the locker room. I'm pretty sure he's shown these young guys how to work, how to compete. He's drawn up a good game plan for Ja and Jaren Jackson to compete, and now they're trying to make a playoff push. We'll see how it works out in the bubble, but yeah,
He, I, oh, he's a good pick. I just think that biggest impact has been the arrival of John Morant. Mine, Nick Nurse. Raptors lost Kawhi last year, and everybody thought they're gonna be maybe a playoff team around the 8 or 7 seed. I had them at that spot for a season, and they're the second seed right now, and look like could be a surprise champion this year. And nobody expected for them to be just as good without Kawhi this year than with him last year. I mean, team really like doesn't have a superstar like that. Like with Kawhi, Pascal Siakam's up and coming, and Kyle Lowry's always a borderline all star. But for them to be where they are with that next man mentality, it's just I don't see how he's not coach of the year.
yeah. Well, Nick Nurse is. I would think for Nick Nurse it's more Masai Ujiri and the way he's actually just found talent like through the G League, picking up these free agents. Like just the way he assembles a team is very good for them. I think that helps them out. But I honestly, when I look for a coach of the year, I just like recent years is either game plan or just how you coach or like what you do to a team. And I think Jenkins has really been like the leader of this like locker room, and he's really shown the young guys how to compete at a playoff level already in Jaw's rookie year and Jaren Jackson's second year.
So is that before Kawhi got there, they had Dwayne Casey, and they were always winning around 50 games, but falling short in the playoffs. And both Kawhi and Nick Nurse got there, but the Raptors were just as good without Kawhi than with Kawhi last year when Kawhi sat the games out. And I just think that his ability to plug in players with different lineups has just made the team like reach a whole new level. Like it's the next man up, anybody could play. I think while Masai Ujiri has done a good job of that, I don't think just he can anybody can play out there without like being thrown into the fire. Like you got to put players in situations to succeed, and I think that's what Nick Nurse does.
Yeah, very two very interesting candidates there. I next we're gonna go into sixth man of the year, and I'm just gonna give it to the only six man, Lou Williams. He would be a starter on most teams, but I mean he does his best work off the bench. He's a pure scorer off the bench for the Clippers, and I think he's a nice pick for them.
I I have Dennis Schroeder as my sixth man of the year. Now, when Dennis Schroeder is on the court with Chris Paul and Shea, they they have the net rating of 29, which means they outscore their opponents by 29%. And the next two lineups for the Thunder, Dennis Schroeder and other players, they take away Chris Paul and Shea, throw them in with anybody else with Dennis Schroeder, and is the same from 28 to 21 to 20. His impact on the court is crazy for them. They outscore their opponents by 20 basically every time he's on the court. Plus, he's basically averaging 19, 4, and 4 off the bench, and basically almost all star numbers for them.
Yeah, I mean I like Lou Williams just because honestly he's not. I wouldn't say he's all star level, but just the way Lou plays the game, he knows what his role is. He's been the six man, like he's basically owned that award, and I think what makes he's what made the Clippers more attractive to Paul George and Kawhi before the season started, as their bench, the way they played and they fought in some playoff series was really like remarkable. How their starting lineup could keep up with their bench and vice versa. Even they wouldn't have to rotate minutes as much. That's why they've been as good as they've been, even with Kawhi missing some games.
But the thing is, Lou Williams, this pick and roll partner, Montrezl Harrell, they really have two six men right there. So they sort of take away votes from each other because they both have such a good impact. Whereas Dennis Schroeder and OKC, it's clear cut it's him, and he makes a major, just like Lou Williams, he makes a major difference when he's on the court. Best in the league, the Thunder's net rating.
Yeah, but I think the Lou Williams pick is more of their coach and like the way he made the three-man guard rotation work with Chris Paul and Shy. I think Shy is also a really good player, and I think he's gonna be a star eventually. I think he really helps the Thunder. And I know their lineup. I'm pretty sure that three-headed monster of Chris Paul, Shy, and Dennis Schroeder has done some work. And I, not to take anything away from Dennis Schroeder, because he's a good option. I feel like Dennis Schroeder is like a very opportunistic scorer, and like the way he plays the game, just I'm not entirely sure if it would work in a playoff series. It worked in the regular season, and that's what these awards are based off on. But like Lou Williams, time and time again, has shown that he could do work both in the regular season playoffs, and if a star goes down, Lou Williams has proven that he could actually take responsibility and be like the main option on a team, while like Dennis Schroeder hasn't really like had to play in a situation where, let's say, Chris Paul can't play or Shy can't play, like how he would fare without those two star guys there with him.
All right, but is that these awards are based on the regular season, and in the regular season, Dennis Schroeder's impact is immeasurable to the Thunder. Now, I get it that he doesn't have the resume that Lou Williams has, but a big part of the Thunder this season has been Chris Paul, his clutch time playing, the leadership he has. But with Dennis Schroeder on the court, they go from a good team to almost team that's unbeatable when they play their three guards there. And while it was a great job by Billy Donovan to find that lineup, the players still need to execute it, and you clearly see that it's working for them. In like they're in the playoff race, and they're probably going to the lottery, or almost everybody had them in the lottery before the season started.
Yeah, I mean it's a very good job by their coach and their players. And now we are gonna move on to rookie of the year. I think this one's fairly obvious because there hasn't been a more impactful rookie. As a Heat fan, it hurts, but Kendrick Nunn is kind of on the same boat as Ben Simmons was. Is he really a rookie? But John Morant is my new favorite player. Not just kidding, but he's my pick for rookie of the year.
He's also my pick, but that's why I argued with you on the coach of the year thing because I think the biggest impact has come from him, from like the leadership that he has, averaging 17 and 7. I mean, he's Memphis, like he's brought new life to them. Like they look like a team built for the future that could win a couple chips with him and Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah, the Jaren Jackson Jr. jaw dynamic really like intrigues me. They're definitely one of my favorite young teams, probably one of my favorite Western Conference teams, and I really liked both of those players coming out of college. But I think Jaw, yes, he does elevate the team, of course, and he's been doing things that no rookie has ever done. But I like how their coach has like built the team around Jaw, let Jaw be the main option. But the fact that this team is led by two young guys, I feel like the Taylor Jenkins did like an amazing job to like letting them be their themselves while also winning games.
So I think
I
that
yeah.
before we move on, like Zion, like he could be in this conversation, but he just didn't play enough games. But when he was on the court, it looked like he would have been rookie of the year
Yeah, without
pretty
question.
easily if he played.
All right, now next for defensive player of the year, I personally have Anthony Davis as my defensive player of the year.
I have Giannis.
You have Giannis. See, I have AD for the primary reason that the Lakers got Frank Vogel. They got some pieces, but I think AD is like the main reason why their defense is so dominant. Just because his height alone, he's finally playing power forward, which that's also another reason. He like him and another center just they're just the paint would is like basically impossible to attack for any other team with AD's hyper athletic traits and like other unlike other people, not Giannis but like a Rudy Gobert, AD has the switch ability and he could definitely help your defense like be something else, if that makes sense.
The thing with AD was that oh, well, every player like they need a good defense built around them, so they can have like a defensive player of the year, like candidacy because no defensive players here is going to come from a really bad defense. But I think JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard, their impact, like letting AD play the four and like letting guards and other players run into them, like they're both 7 feet easily and they average the most blocks in the league. I think they have had a big impact on the Lakers defense. Now with Giannis, he the Bucks are already a great defense. He makes them a historically great defense. Their defensive rating is around 101 points per game. That's like 3 points lower than the next team. While the Lakers is at 105. It's not that much of a difference, but it's still a big difference. Giannis is from a point guard to a center and like can guard them like really like sort of like LeBron could in 2013, where he could guard all 5 positions because Giannis is quick enough and tall enough, like just shut down anybody. I think that with his team's already good defense. Now they do have Chris Middleton, Eric Bledsoe, Brook Lopez, great defenders. But I think Giannis just makes them historically great. I think he should be defensive player.
I mean, I can see that point, but the way the Lakers defense just transformed, like JaVale McGee was already there. Dwight Howard's a good defensive piece, but just because he could finally play the power forward position, I don't think that takes away from what he's able to do. And like he's the anchor of this defense that's been playing really well and has gotten the Lakers the number one seed in the West. Well, now let's move on to MVP. For the MVP, I'll let you go first on this one.
I have Giannis as my MVP.
Alright, so you got Giannis winning MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. Well, I have LeBron James play as the MVP. I mean,
Now,
you want to like defend your guy here.
yeah, before I start this off, like I personally thought when before the season got canceled or suspended, I thought LeBron could have won MVP if the season kept going, but considering that the season got canceled or stopped, I think Giannis deserves it. The Milwaukee Bucks were on pace to win almost 70 games this year before they had a little fall at the end with Giannis's injuries. Now LeBron was playing amazing. Like his last two wins were against Giannis's Bucks and the Clippers. But I still think that what Giannis did the entire year, averaging 30 and 14, leading the Bucks to the number one seed in the whole league, I just think that can't be overlooked by the little push that LeBron had towards the end of the year.
Oh, see, I think the reason LeBron is my MVP is for the simple reason that one, he leads the league in assists, which is the first time he's done in his career. He's fine. People praise Giannis for being dominant, but he's a young player. LeBron is doing this in his 17th season in the league, which is unheard of. The fact that he's still in the MVP conversation, and just the fact that the main arguments against LeBron last year was he didn't play defense. He's been playing defense this year, and and the years before, prior to him being in the Lakers, was that he was in the East and it's a weaker conference, and now he's in the West and he's led his team to the number one seed in the West, which some people would say is more impressive than the first seed in the East. And I think the fact that a lot of people had the Clippers like being the clear cut first team, and the Lakers have been on top of them for the majority of the season. All of that plus the fact that even at the end, LeBron showed when he beat the before the season got stopped that he showed that he could beat the Bucks and he could beat the Clippers. And I honestly saw those games, and like personally, I felt like that was LeBron saying like, "I'm here. Y'all forgot about me last year," and like he showed that. I think he showed us that he should be the MVP. And LeBron, he could like honestly, he's the best all around player ever, if you ask me. So just the fact that the impact he has on the game, his intelligence, the way he's been able to play this season and like look like still like one of the best like athletes in the planet in his 17th season, I think that goes underrated a little bit. And I think even though Giannis is the favorite, I think all of these points could marinate some traction for LeBron. I think if the season would have continued the trajectory LeBron was going, I think honestly he would have really had a better chance. But just the way he played this season, leading the league in assists, I feel like that is kind of underlooked. He was still a top scorer, and LeBron's just the way he plays the game is beautiful to watch. And he's also like the just his age is just one thing that like even Kendrick Perkins said this. I'm not sure who the oldest MVP ever was, but LeBron's just in the conversation, and that of itself is pretty amazing.
Is that uh, LeBron? I said I think if season would continue, he would have probably won MVP. Like he had, I don't want to say a good couple of weeks, but he made a big push towards the end. But I still think when you take a look at the entire year, Giannis still deserves it. Plus, Giannis, he has really no other superstar, and LeBron does have Anthony Davis, who could be an MVP player, and he's the number one seed in the West. But the Clippers, well, I don't think if they were fully healthy, they would have caught to them. The Lakers have had a little bit of space between them because the Clippers have been unhealthy all year. You know, Kawhi takes load has load management, takes some games off. Paul George has had several injuries. Like that's games missed that the Clippers couldn't cap on to get closer, and nobody really thought like some people think Clippers could win championship, but it seemed like the Lakers would grab the number one seed because LeBron doesn't mess around when it comes to home court advantage. He'll get the Lakers to get that.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think home court advantage was even that big of a problem for them, considering even if, let's say they played the Lakers in the Western Conference, if the season would have played out regularly, it would have been a Lakers home court throughout the playoffs. But yeah, honestly, yeah, this is gonna be a very interesting like to see how it plays out, and we'll see soon, hopefully, who wins what award. We're not entirely sure how they'll announce it, but that's about it. I think we're gonna wrap it up here. Don't forget to subscribe, and yeah, see you guys later.